we're the only investment company that I know of that's owned by our clients. And I think that just gives all of us a real sense of clarity as to who it is that we work for. And there really are three things that we're doing across the company. I'm going to focus on the first, but just to list them out, we think there are real opportunities to extend the, quote, Vanguard effect to areas like fixed income and cash. The second is that we are, I would say, most of the way through kind of building what at least I and others consider to be the most modern technology stack across the industry, moving to next generation hosting and platforms and the like, which gives us real opportunities to make even more concerted improvements in areas like our client experience. And then the third is really just beginning, which is a whole series of investments that we're making across artificial intelligence and how it enables advisors to improve the productivity of their practice, how it kind of moves into our own investment kind of capabilities, and even more broadly all across the company. One of the reasons we're really good at it is we're also really low cost. And so, we're not starting too far behind the start line because of our cost proposition, and allows us to be much more disciplined about risk-taking, about investment process. And so fixed income is probably the most interesting and underrepresented asset class in clients' portfolios today. Because at least when we look out over the next 10 years, it's got a very similar return profile to areas like U.S. equities, but at less than half the volatility.
Yeah, I think something that's been exciting for us in the past 10 months is that we've launched 18 new fixed income ETFs.
Right.
Like, that's a heck of a number for Vanguard or any asset manager. And I think the thing that's exciting about that is you can see that there's so much momentum in this space.
And so we've been using artificial intelligence, for example, in our fixed income investing for quite some time. Again, one of my observations in the past 18 months is that we are really advanced in our thinking, particularly around kind of the use of algorithmic and AI-based technologies to do things like, ETF custom baskets, to do them like quickly, to add to the liquidity, to add to the kind of very high rates of tracking that we see in those index ETF exposures.
So this year, within the Financial Advisor Services division, we created a tool that uses generative AI to produce client summaries. So we've seen really strong uptake of this. Thousands of client summaries have been created. And what they do is take maybe a longer white paper or a longer article, and there's an option on our advisor website to select ability to customize this article based off of your client's financial background or their preferred communication style. So it's a way for advisors to deliver insights around market trends and key topics at the click of a button. So we're really helping them try to make their time more productive, but also help them add value and share their expertise with clients.
Yeah, we look at private markets really through the lens of the efficient frontier and what is the likelihood of adding private credit or private equity to a portfolio in terms of its opportunities or chances of outperforming. Now, the market's evolved a lot in the past 10 years, let alone 50 years. As we look at it from just kind of straight investment theory, there's a role for certain categories of private markets in certain portfolios. There's then a long list of subject twos that we have kind of as Vanguard, right? Which is, what's the cost?
Yeah.
What's the quality of the firm making the investment kind of choices and decisions? As you know, we have a long history of partnering with other firms as acting as sub-advisors to kind of add capabilities where we don't manage them internally. Private markets would be an example of that.
Yep.
But we're also looking at it and exploring it, but we want to do it in a Vanguard type way, which means, can we make it simple? Can it enhance the diversification of a portfolio? Can we keep true to keeping costs low? Certainly not as low as index, but low for the category to help kind of drive down the overall cost for the category. having kind of sat through and witnessed firsthand our product development process, that we are incredibly disciplined, and the internal dialogue is really about exposures that can endure.
Yeah.
That we spend a lot of time thinking about the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 20 years, and just making sure that kind of both what it says is what we do, but also that this has got an enduring and long-term role in clients' portfolios. And I've been really impressed by the discipline kind of the thinking and the process, which has led to kind of some of the advances that you cited over the past kind of year or so. We're expanding in certain product categories or product wrappers, but we're doing it in a way which is true to Vanguard, which means that it's got a long-term underlying investment thesis. So I think if we can provide kind of choice to clients, if we can make sure whatever vehicle is built with integrity, is built with kind of Vanguard kind of capabilities, then I think clients will be well served. And I think part of our role is to make sure that we're standing behind the quality, we're standing behind the integrity, not just of the wrapper, but of the show and the underlying product, and staying true to what clients have turned to us for 50 years, which is low cost, long term, well diversified investing.